Welcome students, we are seeing the theoretical perspectives of sociology and the theoretical explanations and the contributions of several thinkers from classical and modern era. In the last session, we tried to familiarize with the Indian sociology and some of the Indian sociologists, and as a part of it, we saw G.S. Guray's works and his significant contributions to sociology in the Indian context. Now we are going to discuss about the widely regarded country's well-known sociologist and anthropologist M.N. Srinivas. Srinivas' contribution to the discipline of sociology and social anthropology and to the public in life was considered as unique, as he was able to mark his originality. His research had broken the strong mold in which area studies had been cast and also experiment with the disciplinary grounding of social anthropology and sociology. In India, the early thinkers strongly believed that an Indian sociology must lie at the conjunction of Indology and sociology, but Srinivas differed of this view and articulated a distinction between book view and field view of Indian society. Srinivas explains two basic concepts to understand our society, and they are book view, which is based on bookish perspective or Indology, and the next one is field view, that is based on field work, that is to understand the nativity of the rural Indian society. In this lesson, we are going to deal with Srinivas' contribution to sociology and his perspectives towards sociology, and also his major works and the concepts developed by him. To start with, now we can see the biography of M.N. Srinivas. Mysore Narasimhachari Srinivas was born in a Brahmin family in Mysore on 16th November 1916, and he lived for 83 years and died at the age of 83 at Bangalore on 30th November 1999. Srinivas was from a Brahminic background, emerged as a breath of fresh air in the over-Brahminized world of Indian scholarship. Srinivas had initiated the tradition of basing macro-sociological generalizations on micro-anthropological insights, of giving a sweep and perspective to anthropological investigations of small-scale communities. He obtained MA, LLB and PhD from Bombay and DPhil from Oxford. He was professor of sociology at Maharaj Sayaji Rao University of Baroda and University of Delhi, and senior fellow at sociology unit at Institute of Social and Economic Change, Bangalore, then at JRD Tata visiting professor. He is also worked in National Institute of Advanced Studies, Bangalore. M.N. Srinivas was a student of G.S. Guray at the Department of Sociology of Bombay. He worked as research assistant under Guray and acquired considerable fieldwork experience. With this background, began his legendary fieldwork in Rampura and his PhD fieldwork in Coorg. While his stint at Oxford, he saw the value of systematic participant observation, which we can discuss in the later part of this session. Srinivas has written on many aspects of Indian society and culture. He is best known for his work on religion, village community, caste and social change. He was influenced by Radcliffe Brown's notion of structure, who was his teacher at Oxford. Srinivas has produced outstanding works, and to list some, we can see a few like Marriage and Family in Mysore, published in 1942, Religion and Society among Coorgs of South India, 1952, which was on the basis of his PhD work, India's Village, 1955, Caste in Modern India and Other Essays in 1962, Social Change in Modern India 1966, The Remembered Village in 1976, India Social Structure in 1980, The Dominant Caste and Other Essays in 1987, The Cohesive Role of Sanskritization in 1989, On Living in the Revolution and Other Essays in 1992, Village Caste, Gender and Method in 1996, Indian Society Through Personal Writings in 1996. Sriniva's study on social change in modern India, which was published in 1966, is an attempt to identify the main social processes at work today and to analyze their interrelationships, all illuminating dimensions of ongoing social change in India. Now we can discuss on Sriniva's contribution. First we can look into the theoretical perspective that Srinivas propagated. M.N. Srinivas is to be credited for initiating the new line of structural functional analysis in sociological research in India. Structural functionalism is brought into sociology by borrowing concepts from biological sciences. Structure in biology refers to organism, meaning a relatively stable arrangement of relationships between different cells and the consequences of the activity of various organs in the life process of the organism as their function. A new departure was marked in the 30s of 19th century by the works of a number of British social anthropologists which influenced the structural functionalism. A student of M. N. Srinivas said closely followed the conceptual categories associated with structural functional analysis. In his work, he states, sociological functionalism is closely related to the structural functionalist approach in anthropology, which tries to explain the various social forms found in tribal societies in terms of their contributions to social cohesion. Srinivas wanted to understand his fellow citizens not only on the basis of Western textbooks or from indigenous sacred text, but also from direct observation. He did this through his field work between 1940 and 42. In his study, he describes the concept of functional unity by explaining the interaction in ritual context of different castes of Kurks. Mainly, he talks about three caste groups: one, Brahmins, that is priests; second one is Kanyas, who will practice astrology and magics. Then the third one he talks about is Banas and Panikas, who are considered to be the low castes. In the context of the study of Rampura also, he describes that the various castes in a village are interdependent. Participant observation was a reliable methodological perspective in sociology and social anthropology. Participant observation was, according to him, was the way by which the sociologist cultivated empathy by observing the world as others would. He preferred to go to the field with open mind without any preconceived notions. This helps the good field worker to respect the people and the institutions he or she wants to study. Srinivas practiced the philosophy of participant observation in his personal life, in his professional work also. He saw much resemblance between Gandhi's idea of satyagraha and participant observation. Srinivas was clear that participant observation would teach the sociologists a few lessons in humility. He regarded it an open, non-intrusive learning process. He valued the friendships he established during his fieldwork. The information collected through fieldwork ought to be meticulously classified as field notes and then indexing them, providing cross references for each pile of cards were the way in which Srinivas works with his data collected. Srinivas chose to understand a society on the basis of how its members lived and labored, rather than on the basis of printed texts that purported to capture its principle or essence. He was also an admirer of comparative method. He was interested in economics, politics, history and literature, but came to those topics and disciplines from his own deep base in sociology and social anthropology. Hence, Ramachandra Guha stated that Srinivas practiced a grounded interdisciplinary. Srinivas' studies on caste and religion highlighted not only their structural functional aspects, but also the dynamics of the caste system in rural setting. Now we can see the concept formulated by Srinivas. Srinivas' intellectual capacity and the knowledge he gained from the field gave birth to new concepts. We can see the basic three concepts developed by him and a short description about it. The first concept he termed is Sanskritization, and the second one, which is popularly known as the dominant caste. Apart from this, he also made use of the concept vote bank. Now we can see a short description about each of the concept he coined and the explanation about westernization. Sanskritization. This concept that was developed by Srinivas was coined during his work on religion and society among Coots of South India, which was published in the year 1952. This concept was formulated to represent the process of imitation of life ways and ritual practices of Brahmins by the lower caste Hindus. Initially, he made use of the concept Brahminization. Later, the concept was used as an explanatory device to interpret changes observed in the ritual practices and life ways of the lower caste through intensified and careful field study. The notion of Brahminization, however, had implicit possibilities of further abstraction into a higher level concept, that is Sanskritization, which he introduced because his own field data and those of many others indicated limitations of using only Brahminic model of frame of reference. Later, Sanskritization as a concept thus replaced Brahminization at a more abstract level. This conceptual scheme, though referring mainly to the process of cultural imitation, has a built-in structural notion that of hierarchy and inequality of privilege and power, since the imitation is always by the castes of categories placed lower in social and economic status. The Sanskritization of a group has usually the effect of improving its position in the traditions, and the Hindu traditions are found in caste system. Holistic Hinduism is beyond his scope of discourse. He also suggested that Varna has provided a common social language which holds good for India as a whole, that is, it has enabled ordinary men and women to grasp the caste system by providing them with a simple and a clear scheme which is applicable to all parts of India. He further holds that importance of Varna system consists in that it furnishes an all India frame into which the Jadis occupying the lower ranks have throughout tried to raise their status by taking over the customs and the rituals of the top Jadis. This has helped the spread of uniform culture throughout the Hindu society. Srinivas had defined Sanskritization as a process by which low caste take over the beliefs, rituals, lifestyles and cultural traits of those of upper castes, especially the Brahmins. In fact, Srinivas had broadened his definition of Sanskritization from time to time. Initially, he had described it as the process of mobility of lower castes by adopting vegetarianism and teetotalism to move in the caste hierarchy in a generation or two. Later on, he defined it as a process by which a low caste or a tribe or other groups change their customs, rituals, ideology and the way of life in the direction of a high twice born caste. The second connotation of Sanskritization is thus much broader because first Srinivas talked of imitation of mere food habits, rituals and religious practices, but later on he talked on ideologies too. This process of attempting to change one's rank by giving up attributes that define a caste as low and adopting attributes that are indicative of higher status is called Sanskritization. This process essentially involves a change in one's dietary habits from non-vegetarianism to vegetarianism and a change in one's occupation habits from an unclean to the clean occupation. The attributes of a caste become the basis of interaction between castes. The creation of pattern of interaction and interrelations is best expressed in Srinivas' use of the concept of dominant caste. Now, we can see about the concept of dominant caste. Besides religion and caste, the third traditional component of Srinivas' study is village. Srinivas got the seed idea of studying India's villages from his mentor Radcliffe Brown in the year 1945 to 46. When settled in India after his return from Oxford, he conducted the study of Rampur, a village in Mysore, which gave him the concept of dominant caste. The main aim of Srinivas has been to understand Indian society, and for him Indian society is essentially a caste society. He has studied religion, family, caste and village in India. For Srinivas, it appears that Indian social structure is on par with the advocates of Hindutva, say the cultural nationalism. He was a functionalist and was influenced by Radcliffe Brown, Robert Redfield and Evans Pritchard. These anthropologists were functionalists of higher stature. Srinivas though talks about economic and technological development all through his works, he pleaded for change in caste, religion and family. Srinivas has extensively talked about the social evils of caste society. He pleads for change in caste system and discusses westernization and modernization as viable paradigms of changes. Srinivas concentrated on the study of some vital aspects of Hindu society and culture, and his study did explore the dimensions of interaction and interface between the Hindu and non-Hindu segments. The area that he studied did not have a large non-Hindu presence. He hoped that the other sociologists would take up the study of non-Hindu segments of Indian society and culture, without which an Indian sociology, Indian in the sense of being comprehensive and authentic and hence truly representative of plurality and complexity of India, would not emerge. Srinivas considers village as the microcosm of Indian society and civilization. It is the village which retains the traditional composition of India's tradition. Srinivas occupies an eminent place among the first generation sociologists of India. He proposed the conceptual tool of dominant caste at this juncture. He preferred to the fact that in most parts of India, a particular community dominated life in villages. For example, Jats in Haryana, Marathas in Maharashtra, Okalikas in South Karnataka, Lingayats in North Karnataka, each of these was the dominant caste in its region. This dominance, argued Srinivas, was a consequence of the fact that these castes were quite numerous, were placed fairly high in the ritual hierarchy and owned much of land, the most valuable resource of rural India. He had identified dominant caste in terms of 6 attributes placed in conjunction. Now, we can see the 6 attributes given by him. First one he talked about is sizable amount of arable land, that is cultivable land. The second one is strength of numbers, that is numerical strength. High place in the local hierarchy, western education, jobs in the administration, urban source of income. These were the 6 attributes given by Srinivas. Srinivas asserted that the idea of dominant caste given by him had its origin in the fieldwork of Coots of South India. His fieldwork had impressed upon him that communities such as the Coots and the Okaligas wielded considerable power at the local level and shared such social attributes as numerical preponderance, economic strength and clean ritual status. He further noted that the dominant caste could be a local source of Sanskritization or a barrier to its spread. Sanskritization and dominant castes are therefore representation of Indian tradition according to M. N. Srinivas. This concept of M. N. Srinivas was ubiquitously used by newspapers, but was not acknowledged to the inventor. Srinivas coined the term vote bank to refer to the ability of the powerful village leader to deliver to a provisional politician all the votes of his village or caste. Later, it came to connote the more general tendency of individuals to vote in herds or groups, whether these herds or groups were defined in terms of caste, class, language or religion, or even a shared leisure time activity. The concept of westernization. This concept refers to the changes in technology, institution, ideology and values of a non-Western society as a result of cultural contact with the Western society for a long period. The important features of westernization as given by M. N. Srinivas are emphasis on technology and rationalism. This process is not retarded by the process of Sanskritization, but to some extent it is accelerated by it. Srinivas had earlier maintained that Sanskritization is a prelude to westernization. The form and pace of westernization of India varied from region to region and from one section of population to another. For instance, one group of people become westernized in their dress, diet, manners, speech, sports and in the gadgets they used, while other absorbed Western science, knowledge and literature, remaining relatively free from westernization in the externals. Srinivas preferred the term westernization to modernization. He considered the latter term, that is modernization, as subjective and the former term, that is westernization, as more objective. The so-called rationality of goals in modernization could not be taken for granted because human goals are based on value preferences. As such, rationality could only be predicted on the means and not on the ends of the social action. This is how he differentiates modernization and westernization. Professor M. N. Srinivas was a pioneering sociologist and social anthropologist. Through his work, Srinivas not only legitimized the study of one's own society by anthropologists, but also strongly advocated field-based research in Indian sociology. His work on religion, caste, village societies, politics and social change led him to develop new perspectives on India, including the persistence of caste as both a social system and as central to political processes in the newly independent nation. He coined several key terms that have not only gained currency in Indian sociology, but have also become the part of common lexicon, such as dominant caste, Sanskritization and vote bank. Through his significant contribution to the body of sociological knowledge, he played a key role in the establishment of several departments and programs of sociology in India. Before winding up, we can check your progress. Write a short note on the biographical background of M. N. Srinivas. Who are all the influential persons who propagated functionalism in the minds of M. N. Srinivas. What was Srinivas' explanation about participant observation? What are the concepts developed by Srinivas that we have discussed in this particular lesson? Thank you, students. Thank you for your patience listening. Bye-bye.